is Controlled Chaos with your hosts, Liz and Allie.
I'm Liz, the writer.
And I'm Allie, the publicist.
We are your quintessential 40-something besties who dive headfirst into all things pop culture.
Think motherhood, relationships, hot stories taking over your newsfeed, and of course, the latest gripping true crime mysteries.
This is Controlled Chaos, your much-needed weekly pop culture juice.
Drink up! Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Controlled Chaos. I'm Liz. I'm Allie.
I'm Liz. That's Allie.
I don't even know my name anymore.
Controlled Chaos right there, guys. Here we are. We're back with another episode.
We're recording this on a Monday morning. We both had crazy weekends. Today's already shaping up to be a crazy day. And my name is apparently Liz today. So we're excited to be here today. We really, Liz and I have been going crazy back and forth about Diddy. We already did an episode on that. But we just can't stand, and I'm sure everyone's feeling this way in all of the world, that the fact that now that Cassie video came out of him, like, basically abusing her in a hotel, hallway. And now we're all sitting here like, well, hello, why is this man not in jail?
Some people, like, even I texted my husband to watch the video and he's like, I can't. I was shocked because he watches a lot of crazy things. But like the video was just, you guys, it's not even just the abuse. He looks absolutely like insane. Like he's running out like in a towel, right? He has like a towel on, he's holding with one hand, and then just like kicks her on the ground. I mean, it's truly a brutal video. And like Allie and I were just saying, like, how on earth is this guy still just out there? I mean, we know he went to a country he can't be, right? No extra.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, didn't he? Yes. When they were raiding his house. Yeah, when they were raiding.
No, he apparently, I mean, maybe he got tipped off, but he apparently was just going on a little vacation with his family to the Bahamas. So no. Yeah.
Apparently. I heard he was getting out of Dodge and he couldn't be extradited back. I don't know, but this video just is like, okay, why is he not in jail right now? There's really no more like clear-cut proof this guy is abusive, whether no matter what else you have him on. Although I've read, and I'm sure you've read, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much stuff coming out, and not just abuse, like all this fraudulent stuff. Like it's just like it's raining down on him. It's gonna happen.
But it opens up a Pandora's box of basically our court system and the confusion, right? Because I think us, like many people who are not attorneys and don't know the court of law and don't understand all the statutes of limitations, we're just like sitting here wondering, like, why is this such a problem to at least get, a prosecutor against him, get some DA in California or wherever, he's had some of these accusations. But from what I've been reading, well, first of all, I think it's crazy that states can make up their own statutes of limitations. Like some states can have some states don't have any, by the way.
Yeah.
And weirdly, they're liberal states like New Hampshire and New York. And
that is weird. You wouldn't think that. I just don't understand why, and I guess this is kind of, you're sort of answering it. I don't understand why some crimes, okay, let's just talk about this comparison. We all know that Bill Cosby should have gotten the book thrown at him, right? I mean, that guy was, it was disgusting what came out. But why him and not Diddy? Like, why, like, and I think when you and I were talking on text a little bit about this, to me, my example was Kevin Spacey. He committed that sexual, he's actually, all the charges against him have been dropped. He went to court and they were dropped. But, like, his whole career was ruined. And he was completely derailed. And, like, when I talked about what happened, I'm not saying what happened didn't sound bad, but it was, 30 years ago. There wasn't any, it was just a little more lofty. There's no video of him beating the shit out of someone. Yet, I just don't understand those decisions really don't make sense to me. Like, they just don't.
Yeah, I know. And then you look at Cosby, who had literally the number 60 women come out against him. And you're like, okay, this is what was really, really fucked up about this. He gets convicted in 2005 originally, and that's when he was put on trial. And he, at the time, was told by the acting prosecutor, the acting DA, that he was not going to be prosecuted for these crimes. Literally said to him,
why not?
Okay, so this is what happened. So in 2005, Cosby goes on the stand, okay? And he literally says, he admits to drugging and fondling women. He admits to it. So he admits to his guilt under the guise that the prosecutor at the time verbally said to him, I'm not going to prosecute you if you plead guilty, and you'll get a plea deal, essentially. So now a few years later, let's say 2015, whenever the next rounds were, he's back in court. They're using those former testimonies and that against him. And so the court, there was a new prosecutor that took over this guy's place That's why he got
I
out.
was just about to say that. I almost feel like that's like a dumb thing to say. Like the way how long these play out, why would you take one prosecutor's deal if it wasn't like exactly like 10 years later, it's not the same
Well,
prosecutor?
because they're saying that had he not been told that back in 2005 that he would not go to jail, that he would have never gone on the stand and testified, and that would never have put him in jail.
Well, I guess that's for the best. But then it's like
60 women.
that brings us to the point. Like, don't you? Yes, but then like, so I guess this wasn't his lawyer. But let's say like you're Bill Cosby or someone in this situation. Like, when do you know to like? You're supposed to trust your legal team here, right? So you're being told you're going to get a deal. Like, I don't know. There's just so much like what's real in this. And like, I'm not okay. I want to make clear to everyone right now that I obviously think that Cosby should have gotten the book thrown in. I'm just saying the legal justice system can be a little flawed, and I just don't really fully understand. There's no consistency in my eyes really with it. It's like there's not like here are the rules for everybody. It just seems like things are swayed, and I'm not sure that's really fair.
I think it depends on the state that you're being tried in. It depends on
Right. I don't know if that's even a thing. Like I feel like aren't we one country with one supreme I don't know. I mean, right? But I get that I'm not sure even that should be people could just move to other states. It's like how people used to come to Florida because they can't take your house here, so you can be a white collar criminal like crazy here.
I mean, but look what you have to do if you want to go get an abortion. You have to flee to other states.
Exactly. It's that same thing. It's just, I don't know.
Well, here's what's even crazier is when Bill Cosby, when they ended up like closing out the case later in 2015 and basically said he didn't have to go to jail, the trial judge deemed him a sexually violent predator who could still pose a danger to women given his wealth, power, and fame, and ordered that he be on a lifetime sex offender registry and check in monthly with authorities. However, you can't go to jail or be tried because a former prosecutor said that you would not have to plead guilty and go to jail. So now you have a judge who's ruling something that completely negates what you were told back in 2005. So the court is literally negating itself. So how does that make any sense? It's like it doesn't make any sense. It's so frustrating.
And it doesn't make any sense that Diddy's just out there on video beating the crap out of women.
Well, and then you have people like Russell Simmons who have had several women come out against him. He flees to Bali.
Yeah.
And his statutes of limitations were closed out. So he was like, well, it's like Roman Polanski, like the
I was just about to say,
Yeah.
I literally took the words out of my mouth. It's just like that. I mean, that was a really long time ago, but he's never come back, and he won't come back.
Well, and then you have somebody like Cuba Gooding Jr. Okay, so he also pled guilty to groping and forcibly kissing 3 women. He was also sued again by 2 women recently, but he pled guilty because they gave him a plea deal and said, you won't serve any jail time if you plead guilty.
That's what I mean. There's just so much backroom dealing in these cases. Like it's not like a simple case of crime and punishment, right? You do it, you get charged. It's like, well, you do this or you help us catch this guy and you do this and we'll do this. It's just so much backroom dealing in the justice system, which I'm not saying like there shouldn't be some of that, because you do when you do kind of nurture, like for like bigger, larger cases, the FBI are trying to take down, like maybe like that family we were talking about, you kind of need like, sometimes you need someone guilty to help you catch more guilty. I understand that, but like, there's not just like this black and white, you did something bad, you're going to get it. You might get off scot-free. Like, it's just, I don't know.
We also know too that like, if these guys are raping and abusing one person or one woman, whatever, they're likely doing this to many.
Especially a person in power, like, of course they are. It's gonna, like Weinstein, like, come on, we all, I mean, it's everywhere. So it's like, and just his behavior on that video, it's just so cut and dry that like, this is who you are.
Right. And then to come out with that video after, which terrible move. I don't know who's his publicist.
Oh, I don't know who told him to do that.
It's awful.
Like, I almost feel like it would have been better if he didn't say anything, truly, because
I know
that was,
you're just like, you literally said you didn't do that a week ago.
Yeah, first you said you didn't do it, then you're like, oh, like, I'm sorry. I just like, it was like, I was like, just don't say anything. Don't talk.
Okay, so here's another example. Remember Danny Masterson from like that 70s show and The Ranch on Netflix?
He got it. He got a big book thrown at him. He's like 20-something years.
He got 20. Oh no, he got 30 years to life. 30 years to life for the rape of 2 women. But you know what? And he got many letters of support. And you remember the
oh, that drama. Ashton and Mila like dropped their like charitable thing they were doing after that. Yeah.
Put them in a bad place because they were like affiliating themselves with somebody who was getting like so
I guess those letters aren't anonymous. I mean, I was just thinking like you send a letter on someone's behalf, everyone's gonna find out about it.
I think it's when it's a public case like this. Everything's up. Yeah, everything's up. But the interesting thing with him is he's always said he was maintained his innocence. He showed no remorse in court. And you have to wonder, like, because, the sentencing judges, because obviously there was a jury that convicted him, but like a sentencing judge takes those things into account too. So as a person being convicted and you're claiming you're not guilty the entire time, like, look at, Diddy's obviously claiming his innocence. He's going to continue to do that. At some point, and I think that's why like Cuba Gooding Jr. took a plea deal because he's like, fuck, I don't want to go to jail. But it's like ego thing, like with Danny, like he's just because I heard this narcissist like ego from like all the stuff I read and all the people in the industry, like he wasn't like a very
he gives me a really bad vibe. I don't know what it is about him. There's something about him that screams like I don't know, like a narcissist, kind of just bad. I'm not sure. I mean, because even if he did like no remorse at all, like nothing, like something happened. Yeah.
Is that then ego, like he'll just never ever admit it, or
Like let's just say, like, for argument's sake, that he didn't rape these women, which I do think he did. Something happened. Okay, there was some assault, and you're just kind of like to show absolutely zero. Like I don't trust that. I don't like. I'm sorry. I don't. Like, and Diddy's whole like lie. Diddy's just like believes his own lies. I mean, I don't know where he is. He's just so far gone. Like saying I didn't do this and then saying he did after there's a video that came out.
there's also a big difference here too. Like Diddy is a billionaire. Like Danny Masterson's not a billionaire. Russell Brand's not a billionaire. Cuba Gooding Jr. is certainly not a billionaire. I don't know what role that plays in how this all goes.
Oh, it plays a big role. Money plays, and that's the same. The corruption, money plays a role in all of this. Like, can we speak totally just frankly? Let's say that Diddy had no money. He was just a regular African American man that pulled this. Done. He'd be done for. He'd be in jail for. Yeah, I do. I think he would, but he's powerful and has money, and that is corrupt. I don't think our legal system should be like that.
There's also a difference here too in civil cases versus criminal. And so all of Diddy's cases so far have been civil. And what that means is with criminal, you really have to, as like a prosecution team, you really have to be able to prove guilt with these things. Like it can't just be a he said, she said, right? Whereas in a civil suit, I think it's like a 51%. Like you have to be able to convince them 51% that the person that is saying this is true. All these details are true, the time, the place, or in the hopes of settling and getting a lot of money, right? Like Cassie sued for $30 million. And the next day, and she was trying to make it in, by the way, before statute of limitations, which is why it was also rushed. And then he settled the next day because he didn't want all that information to be disclosed. Either way, everybody still found out. I mean, you're not going to get away from it. But a lot of this is, and I can't imagine being like a victim and deciding, do I want to go the course of like civil versus criminal here, dragging yourself through the mud like this? There has to be a DA and like there has to be someone who wants to
But that's why money makes all the difference with this, because you pay for the lawyers that know all of this and navigate. Those lawyers cost a ton of money, $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 an hour. Who can pay for that besides the Diddy's? I mean, it takes a lot of money to get you out of something like this or to get the best case.
What a mistake, though, like that the prosecutor for Bill Cosby would say.
I never knew that, so you just told me. That's really crazy.
And that's literally why he's not in jail now. That's why they overturned and let him go a few years ago. And I'm like, why would that man say that? Why would that prosecutor?
And that's kind of a thing too, like how they can be overturned. Like remember when what's his name? The guy from this first Serial podcast.
Oh, he just got out.
Adnan,
right?
Yeah, but then he went back, like not even a month later, less, because of some sort of like protocol, something that happened with the court systems that wasn't right, and like the guy gets freedom, and we still don't even know if he did it. Although I love that podcast, I think he did do it, but the whole time I didn't think he did it, and then the end of the podcast, I'm like, I think he did it.
So he was released from jail in September 2023. This is so crazy. When the court overturned his conviction after a DNA test excluded his DNA, but his conviction was reinstated in March, so just a few months ago. He still is free. But the attorneys have noted the legal situation raised the potential for him to be reincarcerated. But now the city prosecutors have formally dropped charges after finding flaws in the evidence.
Oh, so he's out now? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so for nearly a year, he's lived as a free man in one sense, but not in another because of this fact that he could get reincarcerated.
Well, point being, there's a lot of red tape and a lot of bureaucracy and a lot of money and a lot of deals and a lot of stuff that goes into like you said, or the luck of the draw of a sentencing judge. That's also a big part of it. There's luck. There's stuff that's not luck that you pay for, that you have to have money to kind of go in your favor. I mean, it's really just every angle.
How about the fact that a former president who just got convicted of, what was it, 24, how many counts? 36, 32? I don't remember the number. He's now a convicted felon, but can run for presidency. Yet, if I had a DUI on my record and I wanted to go apply for a job right now, they wouldn't hire me because I have a DUI. But he can be president.
And Ryan and I got in like a big thing because I was just so convinced that wasn't true. I'm like, wait, he can still, he's the first president ever to ever be a convicted felon. So I'm like, he can now be president? Like,
why?
What? It just doesn't make any sense. You can't even get a job like at McDonald's half the time if you're like have that kind of like when you get a background check for like a normal job here and you've been arrested, it can cost you from getting like, just like you said, a regular job. You know what? We don't have to say anything else about how messed up that you just say that. I remember filling out my first job applications and like, you've never been arrested, like all these things. And like, but our president who's been convicted on like, dozens of counts of very bad stuff. And it's just.
But by the way, I just read it, 34 counts of falsifying records. So we now are okay. Half the country is okay with a man taking presidency who has falsified and been convicted by the court of law, falsifying documents. And that's okay to run our presidency. We don't care if he falsifies more documents. We're okay with someone doing that.
Like you said, you have a DUI on your record, can't get a job. It does not make any sense. And I'm kind of sick of it. Like, I'm sick of it. I would think this would be like, okay, great. Don't worry about Trump anymore. Done. You know, like, don't worry about him being president. It should be like that. But no, I mean, his followers will follow him straight to jail.
My God. Well, let's keep following the Diddy trial. Also, Donna Adelson from the good old Adelson murder. Her trial is now September 17th, FYI. So I put that in the calendar. So
Can't wait for that. Can't wait for Donna to go down. I hope that her daughter goes down too. Well, the Diddy conversation is really, I think, turning into like more just like a court and sentencing conversation, because that's really what it's about. And what we were most thrown by is like, why is he just walking free, and why is that compared to other people? And like, I do think Diddy's going down. I do. I just don't know what else has to happen. I mean,
It is so interesting though, like in the case of like Danny Masterson, like, again, this is all based on, you know, I think there were 2 or 3 women. It was all based on just their accounts, right? Is a memory.
Right. There was no actual video proof. And like, here we are. I'm sorry. I don't get that. It doesn't make it. That's not really okay. If I were Danny Masterson, I'd be pissed.
Fuck the statutes of because we know that's why. But what we're just to be clear here, everybody, like, it's not like we're not getting it. We just don't understand how that can be like a situation where you can have physical video evidence and still nothing.
We don't understand how there's going to be physical evidence, and we don't understand how you can be a convicted felon and be president. These are our 2 big question marks.
Good questions. And then I have one more question for you before we sign off. On one of our last episodes, we talked about a lot of romantic stuff and being more intimate with our partners. And I myself have made somewhat of a conscious effort to be a little bit sweeter and kiss more. And I will say it's made a little bit of a difference in the feedback I've gotten. So I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, I've been a little nicer, I guess. Overall, I did not give him that big kiss that we talked about. He got pink eye. Okay, so that like threw me off for a while. He got my daughter's pink eye, you guys, and
Wait,
both eyes were just like, it was disgusting. I mean,
I would be saying that you are making this up.
No, but it's true. Emmy's my daughter's pink eye was nothing compared to his. He had like the full, both eyes, can't see, crusted, disgusting. So no, I didn't get anywhere near him for like quite some time. But since then I've tried to like, you know, yes, being more affectionate and just being like more like, oh, I'm so glad you did. Like, I just never really realized and like how much of that he needs. He's really the kind of person that needs to hear like, wow, that means so much to me that you did that, or like, that looks so great. Thank you for paying the door. Like that kind of stuff. And like kisses do really make a difference. But sometimes I'm just like, God, you're pissing me off and I don't want to do that.
I know it's hard. It's
you
hard.
Know? You have to like force through it in a way.
Hey, can you even remember what half the fights are about? Sometimes we'll talk the next day and he's like, do you even know why you were mad at me yesterday? I'm like, no, I honestly can't remember.
A lot of the times, no, because yeah, I mean, a lot of it, let's just be honest, like hormones and moods and just like tiredness. Like, I mean, honestly, like I don't need to be like sound like I'm a teenager here, but the week before I get my period, I'm just like a total psycho bitch. Like I can't. It's gotten worse since I've had kids, and like I can almost clock it. Like, I just feel myself being real edgy and like I'm just like, I don't know. He's like, can't you control that? I'm like, I really can't. I really don't know how to control those things.
Sometimes when Mitch is yelling at me or saying something, I'm just like, I'm bleeding from my fucking vagina right now. Can you just shut the fuck up?
They don't know anything. And like, I've really come to know that as I've become a mother, I've become more of an adult. They don't realize what we go through physically, what we go through emotionally, how much we managed at one time. It's just completely something that I have to accept he will never understand.
And it's all we know because we were born that way.
It's all we're ever going to know, and it's all they're never not going to know. There's just
never know what it's like to have a penis.
no, we won't, but I bet it's easier than this. I mean, sorry. There's no way it's not. I want to like come back in my next life as my husband and just like live that life.
Right? I know. Sometimes it's easier, right? I know. All right. Well, on that note, we'll see you on the next episode, y'all. Thanks for listening. And
thank you. Controlled chaos. Thanks, guys.